all set, I'd like to call meeting to order. This is our budget workshop, and also we're gonna be discussing the resignation of Tim Brand, so. I guess if, how do we call it to order? Public inquiry. Somebody has something to say?
I guess I won't sit down then. Right here. Doug McAbee. Last night I went to the school board meeting and I brought back their agenda, and their philosophy is a great deal different. They are awarding a contract to a different custodial staff so they can cut more people. They authorized the superintendent to implement a reduction in custodial maintenance, parapros, and transportation staff. And already, there are no school employees down at the bus garage. They're all contracted out, and they're gonna cut the numbers. The custodial staff is contracted out, and they're gonna cut the numbers again. They were talking about taking a proactive view of the budget. And that is like 180 degrees out of what I see going on here. We're not putting anything into the budget, into the surplus, we're taking out. And, we've debated that. What's the meaning of surplus? What is it? The meaning of balancing the books. We are balancing the books at the expense of taking out a surplus. We're not putting any money into the dam, drain issues. We just continue to use our surplus. I don't think you're gonna find anybody out at the school that's had a raise like we've had around here. $4. Now we want a permanent cost of living that can't be voted on. I mean, what a drastic view of right down the street. And, we only have so much money in this community, and it starts with us, the taxpayers. And it's not a contest to see how much we can give away. It's not gonna set well if we have an emergency or a bump in the road. And then we have to, quote, go get a grant. Because grants aren't free. Always engineering. And we've been paying Wade Trim to go get our grants for us. I know you've had this budget talks, and you're gonna hire another person. And I think that sooner or later this is gonna come home to roost. And we just can't keep taking from the so-called surplus. We're gonna pay the price if we have an emergency. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I have another meeting to go to, so please don't take it. I have to leave here in a little while. Don't take that as an insult. I don't mean anything by it, but I've got to leave. I'm not trying to make a statement by leaving you.
Thanks, Doug. Please.
My name is Sholin. I live next door. I live totally off my social security and an annuity. I 100% pay for my health insurance, and every single year it has gone up. I understand that it's nice that you have health insurance, but for the last 20 years, I have paid, my husband and I, when he was alive, paid solely for our insurance. I just can't see that you should have health insurance paid for completely. Same thing with all of the employees. It just, in view of Wheelock drain, the dam, all of the issues that are involved, I just do not see that this is something our village should be doing. We have bigger things to address. No one really knows how much all of these issues are going to cost us. I just really feel bad about this, so I just wanted to voice my opinion and let you all know. You want me to open
just stand, that's good.
Okay, Cindy Beebe. I have to back both of them. I've mentioned it before and you guys know how I feel. I'd like to, thank you so much for getting up and speaking as well and having some other people in the community that feel the same way. I too pay for my own health care out of pocket and nobody contributes a dime for me. That's my life, that's my story. But as life goes on, more and more retirees are not in the option of having the luxury of health care. And they do have to pay out of their budgets. And they do, especially if they have problems, they have all of the other things that are done. One policy that really should have been handled last November publicly and was not, should have been between Jackie and Horton for a policy to be approved without it being brought to a motion in front of the public and letting us know, for a policy to go from 11,000 or roughly give or take whatever it was to 21,000 is unbelievable. That's double. So I don't know, was somebody added to that policy? Because I know age contributes, but I also have the premium package from Blue Cross. And in a year when I turn 64, my Blue Cross is not doubling. So I don't understand that absorbent bill. I think that needs to be explained to the public, and again, it's time they contribute. It's not fair, it's becoming an insult. It should be at least an 80-20. Another thing that was mentioned is that if we needed the DPW more than we did something, or another staff member, not that you wanna see anybody eliminated, but if you need that person so bad, I agree with Jake. You need to find it another way, whether you cut hours in your staff, and he should never be brought full-time. No insult towards him. We would all love to be from the 70s and 80s where our husbands used to walk in, or we used to walk in and have those wonderful benefits. We know we don't have those anymore, none of us do, and we can't continue to do it for them. It is just not fair. And we've asked for the last 2 years vigilantly, and you've looked at us like, what? And now here we are again one more time, and we find out that you worked on policies behind our backs last November. What was all that about? We need to know. We're paying for their care. We don't need to know anything above and beyond HIPAA law, but we deserve to know what packages they're getting and why are they on different packages. The more people you get in a package, the better price you're gonna get out there in the market.
Annie Hauser, I live in Hawthorne Ridge. I agree with all of them. I cannot see justifying a hike in health care. We pay for our own health care, we always have, and I cannot justify it that everybody get their health care free. They should have to pay some part of it, the same way with other things that are going on here. It needs to be cut down where we as senior citizens, we don't get pay increases. We do not get cost of living raises. We haven't gotten one in years. So I just think that it's not called for to have this. Thank you.
Did you get her name, Matt?
I'm sorry,
Bonnie Hauser.
who's Bonnie?
Yeah.
Got it.
Is there anyone else? And you're standing.
I understand, but I'm kind of.
Just your name.
She is standing.
Yeah.
My name's Mary Ellen Hines, and I live up in Hawthorne Ridge too. And I'm a retiree of the state of Michigan, so I do get some of my health insurance paid. On the other hand, we just got a big co-insurance, so that from previous years it was like 400, well now it's 2,000. And even when I worked for the state, we had co-insurance. We know, but you know, there were some plans where you didn't pay nearly as much, but it wasn't free then, and it's still not free. And the same with, the other thing with raises. I would love to see raises for everybody, but gosh, right now, I don't think that is in the best interest of the village, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the people. So, I support everything that was said.
Thank you.
What was, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Mary Ellen Hines, Hynes.
No one else? Okay. With that said, let's move right on into the resignation of Tim. Van.
Need a motion to accept it.
I talked to Tim the other day and he's, it is what it is. We do have his letter. Any other comments?
No.
Motion to accept his resignation
With regrets.
with regret. Thank you very much.
Oh, Vic,
You made the motion.
Yes.
Horton.
Yep.
Maureen,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
I had Baldwin and Horton as the, do you want me to change that?
Fine.
Uses my name all the time anyway.
I just want his credit card.
I support it.
In your information, I gave you, a section of the charter for filling vacancies, so that you would have that. And I also prepared, an ad to go, public notice to go in the paper, if you wanted to go in the paper. I'm gonna read it.
Please.
Village of Goodrich has an opening for a village council member. If you are a village resident and have an interest in serving the council, please submit your name, address, phone number, and a letter to the Village of Goodrich, the address. Submission must be received before 6 p.m. on June 1st.
Okay, that's gonna go into what, one of the
Citizen.
papers in our Ortonville, or
The citizen,
Citizen.
well, that's where we always put them. If there's not a problem with that, or you don't, whatever your pleasure.
Good with it?
I support it.
I think we all support it. That's good. Thank you. Budget workshop. I know, Jake, you've got some things.
Got something.
Let's go.
One of the questions that I have is, well, a few things. At the beginning of this, when we received our white copies, there was a general fund, looks like balance of $300,114. And then when I'm looking at our treasurer's report for May 11th, our general fund balance is at $158,405. So I guess I just, for clarification, I need to know what all funds tally in here to give us our fund balance of $300,000.
Well, again, if you ask the questions in the office, I can answer them. I don't have the paperwork in front of you.
Come on.
How are you gonna deal with this?
Please.
Did you add the general fund amount and the savings account amount together?
And that's $258,828.
Okay.
Call it 29.
When we started this year, we had a 310,000 fund balance. We're not done with this year. When we're done with this year, at this particular point in time, we are not using any fund balance. We normally don't use any fund balance. I think last year might have been the first year that we did, because we did a road project, or it might have been the year before. I'd have to check it. The $310,000, well, minus the DARE money, should be there at the end of the year. We won't know until the year's done. This is a floating budget. There's money coming in at various times during the year. We still have state revenue money to come in. We still have Act 51 money to come in. We have fees money. We have all kinds of money that come in. The majority of the big expenses, with the exception of, what we need right now, are already in. We've already paid for the salt. We've already paid for the, anything else that we use on a yearly basis. So looking at those numbers at this particular point in time doesn't mean a thing.
Well, and the reason why I was bringing that up, because I was looking, going back, to the Village of Goodrich, Michigan Statement of Revenues, Expenses, and Changes in Net Assets, back from June 30th of 2004 to current. And we have a trend of losing money. So just for thoughts, from June 30th, 2004, we were at $1.9 million for net assets. Ending in 2014, we're at $1.2 million. So, and I don't see anywhere in the budget to where we're gonna be trying to bring our assets back up, except that we just keep spending. So at the beginning, of our first budget meeting, there was talks that we're gonna be counting paper clips and doing what we can. We haven't counted anything except to add more personnel and raises to the thing, so I don't know where the money's being saved at. That being said, I have some other questions in here, but I would like to propose that we at least be entertained, that we cut out a Friday shift, which is only a 4 hours. That's gonna save roughly $24,000. If you like, you could add 30 minutes to everybody's day so that they can actually have a lunch. Because somebody who works 8 hours, who doesn't have to take a lunch, is 9 times out of 10 taking a lunch, but you're paying them for their lunch, so they're actually only working 7.5 hours, or however long they decide to sit there. But if we got rid of the 4 hours on the Friday, again, you're gonna save $24,000. That's gonna fund most of the stuff that you're looking at, to hire another third DPW, the insurance costs and whatnot. It even covers your cost of living raise that you're gonna get, even though it's not really gonna be reflected, because you're taking 4 hours a week out of someone's pay, but they're still getting the raise. Again, when I came up to, the village on a Friday, there was only one person that I seen in the office working. And I'm not asking if they were on vacation, if they were out running errands or whatnot, but, I mean, even if somebody wanted to take a 3-day weekend instead of burning 4 hours of vacation or excuse personal time, whatever they get, that's kind of a waste, because now you're screwing yourself up getting a full week's vacation. So why not just let them have 3 days off? So a 4-day work week works well. And again, I know Jackie has said in the past, well, we do take a lot of calls from the township. I don't understand the purpose of paying our employees to answer township calls. If the township wants their calls answered, they can hire their own employees. I have no problem.
We do other things.
No, I understand. I get that, but that's a logic, at least of that, so I would just kinda like that to be entertained. I mean, I'm not really for or against hiring the third DPW worker. I think some changes could be made, and if it's hiring somebody just to see how he plays out, see what happens in the future, I personally think that'd be kind of the wrong avenue to go. You know, that's a tough one. I mean, everybody in here campaigned for the position. You're stating that you heard, people saying they wanted another DPW or they wanted improvements to the roads. I can kind of come in here and say I heard quite the opposite. They'd like to see a lot of this go to the Genesee County. I'm not here to debate that, but I think if we were to actually hire a third DPW worker, what I would have thought we would have seen coming from this council would have been statements, work, paper, so to speak, work dot logs of works that was performed, projects that are held up because we don't have this employee here, work that's not getting caught up, work that can't get done. None of that was presented, so just going on hearsay isn't warranted for the amount of monies that we have coming in. If you look, if you actually ran the numbers, for the amount of money that we spend out in just employees, and so I'm not trying to throw something by you, but this includes wages, FICA, because it's taxes, we have to pay the taxes, the employees, we have to pay the taxes, your Medicare, their benefits, their retirement, we pay $358,541. And that is not including the council wages or any of our committee wages. So there's a good third of our money that comes out just in wages and benefits and whatnot alone. So somewheres in this budget, gentlemen, we have got to find money if you wanna have these raises and hire another DPW worker. And I don't see any of us trying to come to any kind of conclusion anywheres in here to save money in order to do that. Again, nothing has changed since last year. We still have a drain problem. We still have a dam problem issue that's coming up, even though it's not on our agendas anymore. Those issues still are here. You guys didn't pass a raise last year because of those issues. Nothing has changed. Now we're hiring another third DPW worker, and we're giving cost of living raises. So that's my proposal on that.
Well, I think there's probably a couple things that we can do. We've talked about them briefly, maybe not a whole lot. When it comes to the health insurance issue, how many people actually have the plan? 3?
Four.
4?
Well, it'll be 5.
Okay. One of the things that I run into with some of my, people I do plans for is, it's not uncommon to have the employee pay for, and often it's a very small amount of money, but pay towards the plan in premium. And, if we could do it correctly, you do it, before taxes, so there's no taxable bet going on those dollar signs. And, that helps brings the cost down. It's not uncommon in today's world for an employee to pay a couple bucks towards the insurance plan. We really haven't discussed that a whole lot, but that's one thing that we could do to lower the cost of the plan. The insurance, or the employee would have a few dollars come out of his paycheck. Can't help that, but that's just one of the options that's out there. As far as a lot of the information you have, it's a little confusing because part of those dollars are involved in one year, and some of the dollar signs come in another years because our years are ends and starts in June sometimes, so. It can look like we don't have any money there, and we do, and then next time around, look like we do and we don't. And that's because of the dates more than anything else.
And I don't mean to interrupt you,
okay.
and I understand what you're saying, but if I can add to that, if you go into our charter for budget procedure, it says detailed estimates and supporting explanations are all purpose expenditures for each department. I would have thought at the beginning of this budget process, we would have had bank statements from all the accounts and whatnot, instead of something scratched down on a piece of paper. I shouldn't have to go in and ask our administrator where exactly we are at. This should be presented to all 5 of us, or 4 of us now at this time. That is what should have happened, so we can actually see what numbers that we are working with.
Well, maybe that's something we need to look at in the future and get those numbers, and have more available than try to figure them out. There's nothing wrong with that idea at all. I don't really have anything else. I think the health insurance is an issue with every company. Is the cost of health insurance is not going down, if anything is going up. The ladies here represented the fact that, when they get their renewals from Blue Cross Blue Shield, it hasn't gone down, and it's not gonna go down, and it never has gone down. So, it is what it is. The only thing you can do as an individual is you can increase your deductibles, you can increase your coverages as far as co-insurance. You can do those kind of things, and it's not uncommon to have a plan where you gotta take a look at how often you actually go to the hospital. The doctor is another, that's a $50 deal, but how often have you actually gone to the hospital? And if you find yourself very healthy, then the way you save money is you increase all those kinds of coverages and reduce your premium. To reduce your premium, the cost of insurance, as far as coverage is always higher. It's like a yo-yo, but you can do those kinds of things. If you're getting coverage from Medicare, those kind of things, it is what it is. You really can't control what your cost is. But that's one thing you can do. You just increase your cost of coverage, but then at the same time will lower your monthly premium. It's a thought.
It's insurance in general.
Please, this, I'm sorry.
So that's all that, there's the health insurance and stuff.
Mr. Moore?
No comment.
What are you talking as far as a percentage of copay? What's common?
Oh, it varies. You know, if you have a husband, wife, for example, you might have $1,000 deductible. But then when you add your spouse on, now it's a $2,000 deductible, but you gotta use them both up. So those are some of the costs, but you can also increase those. Because if you're really healthy, you haven't gone to the hospital in the last 5 years, then that's really gonna lower your premium because you're not buying as much coverage. That's one thing, Duke Luck, and you can get those rates from whoever you buy your health care from, or if you're getting it from Uncle Sam, you know, get a hold of those people, and they'll give you some options. So reducing your costs will help. The trade-off is that you're gonna have, more coverage on the books, but you're gonna pay less for it, because you're not gonna use it supposedly. It only works if you're not healthy. If you are healthy, it only works. If you're not healthy, you can't do that. Because you're gonna be using that co-insurance way too much, and then you need to have the extra premium in there to pay for that.
The health insurance policies that we have in place right now are good until the end of, what, October or something? That's when we redo that?
December.
It's the end of December.
Well, that's term.
When's the time we look at new plans?
That's what we're just talking about.
It's not the end of December.
Change.
Well, it's the end of, last quarter of the year then is when we.
September is normally enrollment.
Yeah, I was gonna say someplace in there, last quarter.
I said the plan ends.
Yes, yes.
Didn't say anything about the other.
So I think, Mark, what you were asking is that we won't be looking at new plans until September.
Correct. I don't think you can change them until then, correct?
Yeah, the open enrollment's about now. That's a difficult question.
You can change the act
You can,
at any time.
I'm not sure of if you already have coverage, I'm not sure exactly. Open enrollment's when you really don't have any. If you have coverage already to change the plan, if you're within the plan year, I think you just can do it. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no reason that you gotta wait to do anything. So and I can find out for you, I don't.
Could you,
do
please?
all.
Why don't you look into that?
Okay. I know there's a date you have to have it done if you're gonna change things, which is, one of the days is coming real shortly, in September for one thing, that you can change the deductibles and co-insurance. That's a Blue Cross and that's Obamacare rules, not Blue Cross per se.
I'm sure you can change the plan anytime.
Yeah.
Mr. Vick?
In answer to the question about the 152, the village council approved to have their own criteria. You don't have to change that plan at all. You can have a cap, uncapped, 80-20, or you have the option of doing whatever you want. So if you want us to pay 100%, you just say, pay 100%. You have to do a whole lot of research on that.
You have anything else?
My only thought is, going away from what I was asking, we're looking at insurance, you're gonna have to have another budget meeting if you guys are wanting, or a workshop, if you guys are wanting to change the insurance. Before you vote on the actual budget, because your whole budget's gonna change.
Yes.
Well, you can leave those numbers in there, they're not gonna go higher, that's for sure.
Well, no, but they might go lower if you guys end up paying more out of your pocket, or if you change your deductibles.
All right, so
But
that just
that
means
can
you
be
have a-
adjusted as we go, I think is what you're saying, correct?
Well,
Then we could adjust the budget.
yeah, you just have more of a surplus than we have right now.
Changing, those kind of things.
And in answer to Mr. Vick's question, the budget has been prepared according to how council wants the budget presented. If you had a suggestion, or anyone else has a suggestion on how we do the budget, I would be more than happy to hear it. This is what has been done, doesn't mean that it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong, for years. People come in the office, they ask questions, things are prepared as directed, and that's how it's been done, that's how it was done this time. Now's not the time to come up with a big change. That budget has to be adapted in how we do it on the 9th of June.
But keep in mind, healthcare is something that we could change. We have the liberty to change that law.
I would agree with you on that, except for to explain at our second meeting that healthcare cannot be changed, because I specifically asked that question. So that is my concerns. Every time we come into a meeting, we have new explanations, new reasons.
No, nobody said it could not be
I
changed.
asked you Is this,
It is good until this period of time. I would assume that we can call the person that deals with it and she can change anything. I did not say it could not be changed. I told you what the time frame was. If you wanna get your tape recorder out, go ahead.
okay, Mr. Baldwin, I will address you on this. I asked, since we have already enrolled into the health insurance, that we are now locked into this until the next enrollment period, which is September. And the answer to that question was yes.
I thought that's how it was. I didn't think you could
That is
change
how-
it until the enrollment period was up, and
That
then you
is,
would change
that
your
is how that
insurance.
original conversation went. And again, I'm not asking for this whole budget needing to be changed in the process. I'm just asking when I start looking into the chapter, or excuse me, the charter. Granted, I've only been here since November, so this is a learning process for me as well, and I just start reading this stuff. I have to question the council on why this documentation has not been provided. That's the way you guys have been doing it for years. Fine. Is it correct? No. Are we gonna change it next year? I hope so.
And we're always looking for getting a better place, yes.
Absolutely. But again, I'm not trying to offend anybody with my questions, they're just questions that I'm asking.
It's just been the status quo, it's been the way it's been done.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's right, but it's the way it's been done for a long time. So at this point, Mr. Horton has volunteered to look into the copay and the policies.
We have another meeting.
And then with that said, I would assume that we'd be able to change it, if we decide to. Well, once again, if we can.
I'll find out. Pretty sure we can.
Fine.
We good?
No.
My last question of consideration is the 4 hours getting cut on the Friday and we go to a Monday through Thursday. Again, it's gonna save roughly around $24,000, probably a little more. That's gonna cover your
Are
new
you talking
DPW.
about the office staff? or
I think you're
everybody?
talking for 24,000, you gotta be talking everyone, DPW, everybody, is that correct?
Everybody that's on the 40 hours is what I went off of, everybody that was on 40 hours.
It's gotta be one of the office staff. Because office staff, there's only two of you, you're on any given Friday, unless you've got hours that you've already accumulated.
Yeah, we all do.
Well, you're gonna have 5 guys that are gonna be on 40 hours, so I'm assuming they're working 5 days a week.
Correct.
Yeah, so, and they're half days on Friday as well for the DPW? What days are they on?
They work Monday through Friday,
7 to 3?
7 to 3:30.
And we're back to the DPW to where we didn't gain anything,
No.
we bring somebody in.
Well, Atlas Township, they went on 4 days. When they went on 4 days, they increased the deputy clerk and the deputy treasurer's hours, 8 hours a week. Their salaries went from 14,000 to 20-something, and the other one went to almost 24. So that's how they saved money. They did a 3-day weekend. They raised it. And, they do not get health benefits. They got a $5,000 check every year. This finally was put into their wages because they didn't need health benefits. And on their wages, they get paid 15% in a 4-something, it's like a 401K on top of their wages, which at the end of 20 years, you give each one of them that's been there 20 years $100,000. And another thing that bugs me about the township, when I go out and pay my taxes, they charge me 1% to take my check. That comes to about $110,000 a year. They charge the residents to take their check. That's a lot of money. If you look at it, if you pay them $2,000, $3,000, you're paying them $30 to take your check to pay it on time. To me, that bugs me. You stand in line to give them a check, you gotta pay them to pay it. I also believe a trustee is well overpaid out there, at around $600 a meeting. This board we get $600 a year. They get $600 a meeting. Well overpaid. $600 a meeting.
Yeah.
With, they get retirement too.
Oh, for God's sake.
They get 15% on their wages too.
As far as lowering the DPW guys, we don't gain anything by hiring that other guy though. You're right back to where that's, you know,
You don't need,
Well, if you take,
20-some hours that you're taking off your part-time guy, you're there.
times 4, that's 4 hours a week, so that's $101. That's just for Jackie. I'm sorry, I'm using you,
That's
but
fine.
you're right on top.
Yeah,
That's
right.
always why I keep going after you. All right.
Next time I put me on the one.
Yeah, that'd probably be fair. So, that's of course gonna be $404 for a month, 52 weeks in the year, correct?
I understand where you're coming from.
That's $21,000. That's just for her. You have Tracy again,
I don't think so.
$400, I'm sorry,
4 times 12.
52. No, $400 a month, 52 weeks.
No, times
No, no.
12.
Times 12, not
12.
times 52.
that's one person.
I'd like that wage.
Wow.
There you go, it's about 10,000.
Slide over, I want some of that.
Sorry, that was my wage.
Your,
So
your,
that's-
your,
so
your
that's-
number,
that's
your numbers are
about
based
10,000.
on the entire,
Yes, on the.
everyone.
Yes, so if you cut everybody down to 36 hours at his full time, you get 24,000.
I understand that. But the thing is you we're hiring someone to help get things done out from the DPW. And you had someone that was working, what, 32 hours, is that what he was working? And 25.
So you're giving him another,
But I'm just talking man hours now, you're talking 3 guys, you know, you're gonna cut off 8 hours, that's 21 man hours. So it's basically equivalent to the same thing.
I'm just, you have to find, well, you don't have to do anything, but at the beginning of this, we were gonna try to find monies and savings somewhere, we've done nothing, and I haven't heard of any other suggestions. And if I keep looking in here, in one of these pages, you have transferred to minor roads of, looks like it's gonna be a total of $59,000 this year. And we're budgeting to come out of our general fund to transfer again over to minor roads of 45,000. So if we keep going off those reports that I originally did, most of the transfers, and again, I don't know what that's for, I guess the project was done from my
I have
understanding.
the updated sheet. The money coming out of general fund will be the same from the budget amendments we just did
Mhm.
in minor road. So those two are the same.
But, okay, so, I wanna get back to what we're discussing here, but why are we transferring money from the general fund into minor roads? What is the purpose for that?
To take care of the minor roads. We get $32,000 roughly from the state for our minor roads. We have almost 9 miles of minor roads.
Right, and if you go
And that's
to,
just one way. That's not doing snow removal or grading or different things like that, which you either double it or 4 times up and down. We don't get enough money from minor roads to accommodate all the bills that we get for salt and gravel and chloriding and everything else.
and I would agree with you on that, and looking into this, to be plays devil advocate again. If you look at the monies that we pay out to our DPW under minor roads, it comes up to about $26,000 to $27,000. So again, if we didn't transfer those funds in there, we wouldn't have the money to pay your employees out of minor roads.
Correct.
So what I'm trying to get at, we don't have the money just in these, just for, we're trying to fund them to get paid in there to begin with. That's one spot we're losing money every single year because we have to be able to pay them, so we're taking money out of one fund, which again, I don't understand why we're showing that as a revenue in minor roads, even though it's coming from transportation, or, from the general fund. You guys understand what I'm saying, you're taking $10 out of one pocket, putting it in another just so you can pay somebody.
There you go.
That's not smart business.
No.
Not just to pay somebody.
No.
It's normal, it's normal practice. We don't have enough roads in the village. We have enough money that comes in for 99% of the time for major roads. Because you get paid more on major roads, you get paid for how many miles it is, how many people you have in your community. We have a little over 2.33, whatever. And major roads calculation is more than minor roads, because major roads are normally paved roads. So major roads pretty much takes care of itself. Minor roads has always needed to have money transferred in to it. You can't take care of a minor road for $24,000 with a wage or without a wage. With the applications that we have to do and the grading and the, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I understand what she's saying, but again, when we're paying our employees out of those funds that we're getting from the state, we're not even getting enough money to fund our own minor roads. It doesn't make sense to hire another third DPW without trying to find cost savings somewheres to justify it.
So what you're saying is they would work more during the 4 days to get them up to 36 hours a week. Because you're taking 4 hours away. So instead of working 7 to 3:30, they come up with whatever they're gonna come up with. If you have, well, even if you have 2 guys, you're still gonna, they're gonna be working longer than 3:30. Or earlier than 7.
Yeah. I mean, that-
I'm just
no,
verifying.
You're right, I mean, I'm trying to get them down to 36, I'm trying to get, everybody's at 40 hours to 36 hours, you're still gonna be at full benefits, because it's still considered a full-time employee. I mean, we're not cutting any of that. But I'm just trying to help you guys, because it's, I mean, it's obvious who's holding the floor here. To try to find some money somewhere is to be able to afford your third DPW worker, and if you actually stare at this budget, which is very painstakingly to do, we're taking money from one fund to fund another to fund employees. It's, you know, just an observation.
Another reason, just as a reminder, as to why we became a village, was to provide services to the citizens. Whatever kind of service that is, whether it's building department, whether it's the sewer department, whether it's gravel, that's why we became a village. So the amount of money, you're always gonna have an amount of money that you have for wages, because that's what the services, that's how the services are being able to be provided by having the people there to do the services for the
Right,
citizens.
and I completely agree with you, but you also have to have the money to be able to buy the materials for our employees to be able to put down on the road.
Right.
Thank you very much.
If you don't have that, why have another employee?
And I've also mentioned before, just to throw back out there again, we are not a savings account.
We're also not an
We have
employment
money.
agency.
Pardon me?
So we're also not an employment agency.
Well, we have more money in our fund balance than we need. We're keeping it there so that if and when we have to allocate funds to the 3 things that you continue to everybody continues to mention, then there's money there. We've had different councils come on and say, I don't want any more than $40,000 in that fund balance. We're here not to be a bank, we're here to go out there and provide the services. So it all just depends on the council that's sitting here. how
No,
much money-
absolutely, and I would actually agree with the council if they decided to do that, if we seen improvements in the village. You gotta be able, you gotta be able to see your improvements when you're saying that kind of stuff. If we wanna take it down to $1, just keep it at $1 all year long, these roads better look fantastic. Dutch Road right now is not even looking that great. All the other dirt roads are not looking that great. So again, we're spending money on what is what I'm asking. And what money we're spending, we don't even have.
Well, as far as Dutch roads and those going, once we get the gravel on there, it'll look better. But you gotta have the weather and the gravel's gotta get it, spot in there by Pearson's barn still isn't dry.
Right, but how many dirt roads do we have in our village, Pete?
We got,
Would you say
Dutch Road and the Grove, Seneca Street, Huron Street,
maybe a mile worth of road, once you put them all together in a straight line?
like more than mine,
Mile and a half?
yes.
Call it 2?
There's probably over 4.5 miles in there.
How long do you think it takes?
About 4.
How long does it take a grader to go down 4 miles?
Well, it takes longer to do that than it does out in the county, cause you gotta turn, you got a smaller area. And, they graded them just about 10 days ago, and they look terrible again. So we had all that rain for 4 days.
10 days ago.
I mean, when you get rain, they don't hold up. So we get it down and get the chloride in. You can't chloride them when they're wet, and it just won't do any good.
Basically, Mark, to answer Jackie's question, they would have to start early, you'd be looking at 9 4-hour days, which gives you your 36 hours. And then quite honestly, I don't know why this council hasn't done this for news in the past, but I was very alarmed when I was told that all of our employees don't take lunch that are working a 40-hour work
No.
week.
The DPW does. It's just in the office.
So our office girls need time extended so they can sit down and take a break and have lunch.
Well, I'm not saying that it's right that they don't, and I'm not gonna take and argue with you as far as the legalities of not taking a break after working. My guys do that. They don't stop. They only take a coffee break at 10:30 and then they work through the day. They get out half an hour early. But, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, you know, if that's kind of the procedure they've been doing, they're getting their job done, you know, as an employer, it doesn't bother me. Are they gonna be munching while they're doing something?
Yep.
Probably, in all reality, you know, my guys will grab a sandwich or a cookie while they're working. From the time they drop their apron to the time they put it on, that's more than a half an hour. So for me, you know, I think it comes out better for me and they're happy they get out early. We're not here to argue that. We're here to try to work out something where there's a compromise on how we can get things to go forward and what's best for the community. The idea of cutting the DPW, I don't know, that, I don't know.
In some
What we
instances, you
gain?
have jobs that take 3 people to do it and do it correctly. So, crack sealing, different things that they have to do. So, just to throw that out for your thought process.
And all 3 of them would be here 4 days out of the week.
Would you propose then, if you put them on that 36 hours and they're plowing snow, you gonna pay them overtime after 36 hours? You're gonna have to pay them
Well, it depends on
overtime?
what the council, I mean, right now they're on 40, would you pay them
Please.
back after 40 hours? Probably have to reach your 40-hour mark before you're gonna get paid the overtime. How much, that's another great question, Pete, how much overtime have they got paid this year?
This year hasn't been much, last year was a lot.
You don't know.
Last year was a lot. This winter was fairly decent. Last year, I had employees in for 6 straight weeks, 1 to 2 guys a day, doing something. If it's no more than salt and intersections.
So to answer your question, I say yes, after 40 hours, they would get their overtime.
Well, that's,
That's why I'm answering Pete's question, he asked.
hmm,
That's why I'm answering Pete's question, he asked.
There's times that they came in on the weekend and salted and never charged us. But people probably would change. It would be if I was working out there and you cut me 4 hours and want me to come in on Sunday and salt for 2 hours.
Well, I think that's also against the law if you're gonna come in and work for free and not charge your employer.
Here you go.
Well, what they did,
So that's our fault for not managing that properly.
no, not really. They came in,
Oh, yes.
please. They came in and did 2 hours worth of work and said, I don't want the overtime. Can I go home 2 hours early one day during the week when we don't need anything done?
Fair enough, let me ask you that, was that agreed upon council and brought to their attention?
No,
Or was
it's
that
free
just
about
something
me
that
and
they
those guys. The council knew about it.
It's something that probably should have been voted on. I mean, again, we're gonna have this whole employee handbook getting ready to get redone, we can have that language in there if that's what they choose to do. But it's not up to the employee to make those decisions, it's up to the council.
Well,
So there's a lot of scenarios we can keep throwing out here on how great they are and what they do for us. And I'm telling you, as an employee, if I'm coming and working 2 hours overtime, I'm charging you 2 hours overtime, I'm getting paid for my time. Now, if the council wanted to agree, let you go home 2 hours early, I'm fine with that. If benefits both parties. But we're not looking at what's best for the employees right now, we're trying to look at what's best for our budget, with limited effect to the employees.
So what you're proposing is to cut 4 hours and increase the health insurance.
They're gonna have to show me the proposals on the health insurance. I have no idea what you guys are paying. From my understanding, you're not paying out of pocket. If you guys paid something out of pocket, I don't know that you'd have to increase it. I know deductibles normally go anywhere from $1,500 for single to $3,000 to $6,000 for a family, depending on what plan you pick. And depending on how much money you put in. I went on Blue Cross Blue Shield, looked at the premium, you're still paying $100 a month, and you still had roughly $1,000 deductible in it. It's a lot better than I'm getting. I'm paying 27% of mine, and it's going up to 28. So
Do you
I'm
have
not,
insurance when you retire? Do you have a retirement plan?
no,
We have nothing.
Oh, yes.
We have nothing.
Yes, you
We
do.
walk out
No.
the door, we're done.
They
Especially
usually
for old
do.
ones,
Never
and
go
that's
on.
what we have.
that is very true. And if you're asking me for my company, just so
No,
you know
I'm
that,
just throwing.
well, I will still answer it.
Tired
for
of
you.
people saying that.
I will answer it for
We're
you.
overpaid and we don't
I'm not,
pay
Jackie, I
enough.
never said that you were
I
overpaid.
didn't say you did, I said people.
But to answer for you, on the National Labor Relations Act, the company does not have to bargain for retirees. So therefore, my company just says, here's a plan for you, and 9 times out of 10, they go and find their own, because the cost shifting towards the retirees is so ridiculous that they can get a cheaper plan purchasing their own. And most of them now are waiting until they're Medicare eligible, so that they retire, so they go on Medicare and then have my companies as a secondary insurance.
I would like to be able to do that.
Yes.
I can't do that.
Next year.
Let's stay focused here on what we're trying to accomplish.
But I have a budget to prepare, so we need to, either set another budget meeting after
No.
Rick does whatever Rick is going to be doing now. And whatever you determine tonight. I have to put an ad in the paper tomorrow. I'm not fighting anymore.
Rick's gonna look into the health insurance end of it.
Yeah.
We can change it anytime, it doesn't do anything. I guess where we're at right now is the 4 hours off in their pay. Just kind of briefly what you said, Pete.
I disagree with it. We're here to give services, and we have the money to give services, and that's what we're supposed to be. I lived here in the 50s, and when the county plowed it, you couldn't park uptown, and the Grove never got plowed. People couldn't get out. And I can tell you right now, what Mr. Brandon said, get a 4-wheel drive if you wanna go, cause that's the only way you're gonna get out.
Yep.
Unless you live by the school. By the school, they'll plow. They get the buses in and out, other than that, cause I live by the school, but. The county can't do it, and some of the things that they showed was $1,500 a plow, 18 on Saturday and 24 on Sunday. That's what they was gonna charge you to plow, and they're not removing any snow from the parking places, they're just gonna make 2 passes and that's it. Cause they don't, and their equipment's not gonna work real good in the village, in a lot of these places where the roads are at. The way it is, it's hard for them to turn around.
I guess my only question is, in the employee handbook that we have, does it say anything about overtime after 8 hours per day? So we have-
Overtime is not an issue. I mean, unless you don't wanna give them comp time. I have 40 hours with comp time. Tracy has comp time. We don't get paid for it. We choose the comp time. If you wanna change that, change it. I'll be happy to take the check.
I'll just check on this insurance thing. There's a way to save a few bucks there. Big deals when you can change it.
The insurance policy that we have this year is cheaper than the insurance policy we had last year. Numbers just changed around. We have very young people that work for the village, so their insurance went way down. Mine happened to go up. It happens when you're, but the insurance policy itself, across the total. That's cheap. Just to throw that out. Well, you need to set another meeting then. And I need to be directed to whatever I need to be directed to. You need to have another meeting and then direct me to do the budget. But we're running out of time.
Where you at on the budget now, are we pretty, yeah, we talked about it to the point, is it pretty much done for you, as far as you're concerned? Or do you wanna, are you gonna bring
Well, the last time we had a meeting, you told me to do the budget as we discussed, so the budget was done. And if we're going to change it, we need to give more direction to change it.
Well, I think some of the things we've talked about, can be changed, I think I'm right, if you change at a regular meeting, we gotta do this for that, or whatever, it's just something that we do. Like we're gonna move money from point A to point B, or, I mean, you've done this, this is what we need to do, and then the council just passes with a motion to do that.
As far as the insurance is concerned, if you're going to decrease it, that just gives you extra money in the long run. Nothing really has to be changed on that, other than it's allocated to particular people. You can adopt a budget with, reductions being noticed at budget amendment time.
Yeah,
The wages, anything that's calculated on hours has to be changed, and all the accounts. Which, that's what I do, so. You can direct me to do it that way, whatever you want. I can give it to you, you can look at it, and if you need to have another meeting, you can have another meeting. If you don't wanna have another meeting, I just need to know what I'm doing.
Let's do that. Let's do that, let's make some adjustments, let us look at it, and if we need another meeting, we'll do that.
So yeah, I need to know what the adjustments are.
Looks like 36 hours is what it's telling me.
Well, there's part-time people in the office too. Doesn't affect Pat
Would
because she
not-
doesn't work on Fridays,
It would-
Noreen
I was
works on
gonna
Friday,
say,
so she's going down 21 hours, right?
No, I'll clarify. It was for only the employees that work 40 hours.
So you're gonna have the office open with one person possibly in there working when it's closed?
No. Close it on Friday, and she make up the hours during the week on which days.
She's a bus driver, that's why she's got her schedule. She drives bus through
No,
there.
that's not our
Here's your insurance.
problem as far as hours. If the office is closed, then she can make up those hours, but it has to be when the office is open.
open,
We're not open on.
no. Well, let's talk to her and see what she says on that.
I know what she's gonna say, she
I gotta
doesn't
know.
have any time to make it up, she drives a bus. But she drives a bus to supplement her income, because she doesn't get a lot of hours here.
21 hours. Good with that?
I was gonna get
Big
the numbers
difference
on
on
that.
people that don't make what other people make, but it's up to you guys.
I can't see where it's gonna save the same money. And it's on paper, but you're here to serve, give people benefits, and that's what you're supposed to do. And,
Well, let's look at it before we make any call on that.
You're not making motions anyway. Alright, so tell me when I'm preparing this budget with 36 hours for full-time people, and the office is closed on Friday. Right, and whoever works on Friday adjusts themselves
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
during office hours. And if Rick makes it in beforehand and we can make a difference, I'll change all those.
Everybody's good with that so far? Can we
I
go
don't know
ahead?
what I'm changing them to. What is he gonna look?
That's one thing we don't know.
And I'm assuming you would present those proposals to the council?
All I'm gonna do is
If it
find,
can be
And you
changed.
need to schedule another council meeting right now.
all I'm gonna do is find out, what we can do on deductibles and co-insurance. And if you increase one thing, the premium should go down. If you, you know, if you move it, you can't remove it, but lower it, it's gonna change premium. And I'll tell you, it's not gonna change a whole lot. You know, you can change co-insurance, you can change deductibles. Those are two things that you can do without a big deal. And if you see a difference of 10 or 15% of premium, you'd be lucky. You know, that's not a big deal.
Does that leave the COLA in there?
Pardon me?
Does that leave the COLA in there?
I'm not talking about.
No, I know, I'm preparing the budget.
Yes,
No.
Yes.
stays in.
And that COLA is based on the increase that people who collect social security got this year. One point 75%.
We're not sure. We're all set, Jackie, for right now. Do you wanna do a meeting, schedule a meeting right now?
If we wanna look at everything, yeah.
Let's do it. Mr. Vick, any days that you can't, let's do it quickly.
It would just be next Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday would be fine.
Not Monday.
Monday's out.
Take
Not
a Monday
Yeah,
off.
Monday knows.
I'm sorry, I'm working Monday. I don't know, I was gonna be off.
I won't be here Wednesday, so.
Wednesday?
I
You won't
play-
be?
No, I play golf on Wednesday.
Thursday? I'll make Thursday work.
Tuesday,
I will not be here Tuesday.
what about a morning one? The ad goes in and says that the budget will be ready for people to pick up on the 1st. I mean, I can change that if we're gonna meet.
That's not gonna work.
Can we do a morning meeting or no? On Thursday? What's Thursday?
8 o'clock?
That's fine with me, I'm here.
I have another meeting at 10, so I'd have to be out here at least by 9:45.
Can you get that Thursday, 8 o'clock?
I might be a little later, I might have my son.
28th at 8 AM.
Is 8 o'clock now?
8 o'clock,
You're talking about next Thursday.
next Thursday, 8 o'clock,
28th,
Well,
28th.
the 28th.
yes.
You good? Last round for any comments?
I got a comment, Tricia Wartella. I'm gonna ask, you, Mr. Baldwin, that you could answer this, since Mr. Horton was talking about the insurances and the co-pays and the deductibles. Is he our insurance agent for the employees?
No,
Okay. The
It just,
next-
once again, I know I'm out of order here, but he is the man with knowledge in insurance, so that's.
I'm gonna ask you though, that's why I'm asking. But here's the question I have for you. If I was you and I was the president, I would do myself due diligence and contact the Treasury Department to get the information on PA 152. Because that act that has been brought up several times is in essence here for this government. And what you can do, and you can open this up at any time, you're not set in stone with any of this. You can do a 80-20 with the employees, or you can do a hard cap. Or you can allow them to pay 50% and then we pay the 50%. You could do anything that you want. You're not set in stone. And for the sign-up periods or when the policy is completed, I did union contracts for 12 and a half years. And I'm saying to you, do yourself due diligence for this community and save these people money. We're not an employment agency. I've repeated this several times, for years I've said it. Now, with that being said, to cut the hours down, that's fine. Bringing on a third DPW worker, for what? Actually, for what? What a waste. And Mr. Maury talks about the work having to be done and everything. He's our street administrator, Mr. Baldwin.
Good,
I
and
know
you
that.
address me, but nobody else.
I know, I'm addressing you.
Okay, then leave everybody else's name out, just me,
Okay,
please.
street administrator. The street administrator has told this community how much work has to be done in this community, and it has to be done, and we need a third body. I'm saying it's poorly managed. And if you think that snow removal's that important, contract it out and save this community all this money, instead of wasting our money. And Mr. Moore, or the street administrator talks about the monies that are at the township and what they get paid and what they have and what their employees get, and he's always talking about the township. Well, I'm here to tell you something. They got a bank account, we don't. And what we do have is gonna be gone. And whatever you say to anybody, all of us have got some sense. We do have sense, and we see the stupidity. And you need to wake up. The money that we do have, the bottom line is, what we do have, we need it for infrastructure. We're in a position now, this whole community is, because of what has happened and what wasn't done. We got a lawsuit with 17 plaintiffs, we got the Wheelock-Watkins drain, we got the dam, and we've got roads that are in pitiful shape. And everything we do, we take a bond. I'm not talking grants now. And those bonds are a loan. All these people sitting here, I didn't bring these people in here. They brought themselves in here. Wake up. Open your eyes. We're not an employment agency. And if these people can't do the job, then go. And if they don't like it, go. Let's consolidate. That's what that Plant Moran study said. And all of you up there, you know that. You've wasted more money and
Thank you
cost
very
this
much,
place
Mrs.
more money.
Martell, I appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy, I have to scoot. The third person that the village wants to hire, I don't see any case. I mean, you know, you say, do it. I don't think we get enough work out of the people we've got. My road didn't get graded 10 days ago. I don't know, other parts may have, that's fine. But, you know, it's just poorly managed. You know, if you're gonna hire a third person, make sure you're getting your time and energy out of the two that you got. And you do have a good worker there. You know, I'm not throwing stones at them individually, they need to be managed properly. Thank you, I'm late.
My concern tonight is that everything that you say that you've not given back to us to help, as far as something to go to the roads, something to start a fund for the dam, something to get going on infrastructure or the drain. All it's doing is going back into staff. And I've said it before, I appreciate staff, we need our staff taken care of, but I think our staff's been treated very well. They had some really nice big raises that other communities did not get. Grandin went 7 years, I think, or maybe 4 or 5, but they got 35 cents. You've got, you know, and you guys keep bringing up out here. Come on, Terry Anika makes under 35,000 a year. She makes 51,000 plus 21,000 in healthcare. That is 70-some thousand for one employee, you guys. They don't get healthcare out there. They don't get vacation days out there. So they get a little bit of a retirement, then that's okay. But you guys need to take the money and put it back where it belongs. If you wanna keep an employee because you need him for the park or for snowstorms, keep him part-time, at least save on healthcare. Why is it that you are so dead set against making it an option in this budget that this guy that you never announced to us that was here for a year and a half, remember that, he's just got introduced to us to begin with, and now you want to bump him to full-time with full-time benefits. Why can't you keep him, like all the other municipalities are doing, keep him at 30 hours? and at least save on the health care. If we're doing better in a year or two, then give him his health care. Give back to the employees down the road in the future. But they've gotten a lot in the last couple of years. $4 raises is far more than any nurse received.
Please.
Shirley Kaufman Jones, for clarity, for the record, as the township supervisor, my salary is $35,080 a year. I receive 15% of my salary into a 457 plan. The township is open 195 days out of the year, and the most hours that we're compensated for are 1,755 hours, are the most hours that you could work if every day the township were open. We do get paid vacations, we do get paid holidays because we receive a salary, so we're paid whether we're open or closed. So I just wanna bring that as clarity because I understand as a village taxpayer myself, that I'm also a township taxpayer. And so everyone in the village pays township tax, so I don't want anybody to be misled on what the township, what I personally receive as a salary. And my salary is the same that the clerk and the treasurer also receive. And our trustees receive $5,750 a year with 15% payment into a 457 retirement plan.
Made it very clear, thank you. Is there anyone else? You good? It's not over yet. I appreciate everybody coming in. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Thank you.
Just hang on.
It's not sure, but I couldn't let it go.
You gonna get it?
Yeah. That's okay. I could tell she got